Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette, and joining me today is Ashanta. How are you?
I'm getting yourself. It's
I'm good.
Ashunta.
Ashunta?
Ashunta.
Oh, I love that. You guys, my daughter's name is Ashanti. We were just talking about that prior to recording.
Oh
Ashunta.
yeah. Yeah, Ashunta has a U, so it's Ashunta.
Okay, I might struggle with Ashunta. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Does it mean something?
Yeah, it's a Ghanaian name from West Africa and it means beauty and wisdom.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Mhm.
because prior to naming her, I was looking at all the different Ashanta, Shanti, all the different cool names. That's really cool.
hmm
Awesome.
Yeah, that name is Ashanti is a West African name, so it's like Senegal, Ghana, around that area. The Ashanti people really dominate like most of upper
Yeah.
West Africa.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, and
mhm.
I think I was also told or through research that some of the Ashanti's tribes they ended up in Haiti somehow.
I'm sure of it through the diaspora. I'm sure they have. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Ashunta, what is it that you do and how do you do it?
I am a makeup artist for 3 decades and brand founder of Ashunta Sheriff Beauty. I started working with celebrities in the industry since the late 90s. So I worked with clients like Jay-Z and Usher. I worked with Alicia Keys. I worked with India Arie. I worked with Rihanna. Worked with a lot of different people over the years. Worked in television, worked in film. Also have done tons of music video, red carpet work, and brand partnerships over the many years with really big brands from CoverGirl to L'Oreal to Armani Beauty to Glossier. And then I launched my own brand eponymously named after me. And Ashunta Sharif Beauty is a vegan cruelty, paraben-free brand that focuses on ageless beauties, which are 40 plus, because ageless beauties still want to have fun with their makeup. So we have a lot of beautiful, colorful, bold, innovative product offerings that are waterproof, transfer proof, and that really are life proof, as we like to call them. They bend and shape with you as your life is bending and shaping as you are a much more busier person when you're in your 40s and over and you're dealing with a lot more things. And so you want to know you're putting on makeup that's great and fun, but high performance and lasting and not disappearing on you.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. Well, I'm talking to the right person because I love all of those celebrities you've talked about. That's really cool that you've done that.
hmm
Incredible. So what got you started into the business that you're doing right now?
What got me started into beauty was basically I had left college. I went to Howard University. I was a cultural anthropology major, and when I dropped out of school due to unfortunate personal incident. When I came home back to New York, I was really unsure what I was going to do because it was my third year and I was a junior in college, and so I only had another year left to go, before I graduated. But the universe had different plans. So when I came home to New York City, had a bunch of different little odd jobs. I worked at the Nature Company, which was fun. It was kind of like an anthropological retail store. So that was a cool experience. And then I worked at a bunch of other like retail, different stores, clothing. And then I saw this store, Mac, was coming to New York City. They were opening up their second location in New York. And so I applied and I ended up getting a job at Mac and I trained at Soho and then moved on to open up the first counter at Macy's that they ever had in the country. It was at Penn Station. I'm not Penn, at Macy's Herald Square. Sorry.
Mm.
And so from working retail at Macy's Herald Square, I then started networking and connecting with people. When we were at jobs, we used to like get little side gigs, weddings, things in that nature. And my side gigs tended to, because I lived in New York City, they leaned more towards fashion. So I worked Fashion Week. I would be on, get called to do music videos last minute. And so that's kind of like how I started to build clientele, build work, build a portfolio. And then after, I got to around, a couple of dozen videos, I ended up landing Diddy as a client. And then
Mm.
went from Diddy being my first client, I was his male groomer. And so then I started working on like the Making the Band shows.
Mhm.
all of those with like Danity Kane and the band, the one he had walked to get the cheesecake in Brooklyn, if you remember that story.
Yeah.
That was like I was a part of all of that, so that was crazy. And then, from that I started like really um started getting more exposure with other male artists who needed grooming, and so that just kept growing my catalog like crazy. And then through doing men, a lot of times they had females in their lives, and so I would end up doing Chili's makeup because Usher was dating her, or whoever Diddy was dating at the time. Of course, he was with Kim Porter for a good amount of time, so I would do her makeup. Jay-Z had a bunch of different girls he was dating, and so I was just
Yeah.
basically being put on a lot of the girlfriends, and the female executives in the label would use me for their headshots or for when they had TV appearances, because now they were C-suite level Black female executives who needed makeup to go and do a red carpet. And so all of that cross pollination between the worlds, so to speak, between the executives. I do the executives, and then the executives love me. So then they would pull me in on their clients who were like Rihanna and this one and that one. So, that's just how it all grew. It was just this beautiful kind of ecosystem that really worked
Mhm.
well, and it kept my career really growing and growing.
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool. Thank you for sharing. I mean, working as a Black entrepreneur, especially in beauty and makeup, um, can you walk me through some of the challenges that you've experienced and continue to overcome?
Absolutely. I think being a Black female founder in beauty, and particularly, we don't always have the luxury of, you know, just going viral and,
Yeah.
everything's going to work out fine. It doesn't work like that. I mean, I think of even down to like Melissa Butler and, the Lip Bar. They went on a mission to grow their brand from wrapping a truck and driving it across country and raising capital to going on Shark Tank and being disrespected by one of the sharks. And so we can see, just like with a Black female founder in this world, in this industry, with quality product, that, she has an amazing product, that it wasn't a one, two, three. It took over a decade for us to be like, wow, they're a legacy brand. But she was out in the street hustling, moving, shaking, networking, and getting her product into everyone's hands. And I know that because I was a makeup artist who she put product in hand. And I remember, doing photo shoots and putting the lip bar on Taraji, using it for Empire, for the Cookie Lion character, because I did Taraji's makeup for those seasons of the many years of Empire. And so, I would say, it's not a linear thing for a Black female founder. It just isn't. Even Danessa Myricks Beauty is well over a decade old. But to most people, they've only known it for 4 years. I've known the brand existed well over that. It's been in existence for at least 12, 14 years.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that Black female founded brands have to, wait a decade to become popular.
Mm, yeah.
So when I see people, when is my time? If they're a young Black female founder or brown founder out there, your time is coming. Be patient. You may not have known, this precursor to the success that you see now with brands.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like grinding to get there.
Oh, it is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
And I wish the audience, like the community, and I'm talking to our fellow Black and brown women, you
Mm,
know, would give us more of a shot in the beginning
mm,
to be willing to swap out products and give it a shot. Yeah, your service may not be as perfect as Sephora's, ordering system, because Sephora is a multi-billion-dollar brand. And so a lot of times we're being compared, a small business, to the operational level of a Macy's or a Sephora or Amazon. And that's not the case for us. It's me and like three other people running this company. And so we don't give each other that leniency, that grace, to make mistakes, to grow, to get better. And if you see a brand is still like Rocky Balboa about it and like still like beating their way through to stay, They clearly want to get things right for the customer. They clearly want to stay standing because they're not just letting shit fall where it falls. So I think there's like a level of grace that Black and brown females need to give, and people in general, not even just Black and brown, it's white females too, because they'll run really quickly into a DM and, be very upset about a product's tardiness. But, there's a lot of things that we deal with as small companies that a major company just doesn't have to deal with. So everyone had to start somewhere. So I think there needs to be like given that grace to small businesses and their operations in terms of sometimes even supply and demand, like right now, my Blur Effects foundation, it keeps selling out. I didn't expect it to keep selling, and that's a blessing, right? But that's a blessing and a curse because it keeps selling out. And then, I keep having customers like, you need to do some emails when you're restocking because by the time I get back to the website because I remembered it now, it's gone already. And so I said to my marketing team, I said, well, now I know I need to put in subscriptions in place
Mm,
because that will actually help us better control the inventory for people who need their staples like their foundation or their brow gel or their thermal blush. But it's just a lot of things like I'm only 3 years in business, so and I'm a makeup artist for 30 years, so I understand that business. I understand how to run a trailer. I understand how to inventory my trailer, how to do outreach to PR and marketing to get free products from my actors. I know how to do all the things as a makeup artist, show up and give you a nice experience, give you a soft glam beat or whatever it is you're asking for. But I wasn't born and raised a founder. And so, there's like this lack of kind of empathy towards new businesses and new founders. And I feel like it's human beings in general, right? They just don't have patience. And everyone feels like everyone's already just like a push cart star.
mm.
Like when you think of a car with a push starter, but I just rented a car last week and it had a turnkey and it was like threw me off because I'm used to like just pushing oh, I've got to find a key and I understand. I even get frustrated by some of the more analytical things that I have to do, but it's we have to have patience. We have
Yeah.
to.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Let's talk a little bit about uh, feminism. Here's what I mean by that. Just how Hollywood or culture or society sees beauty. Because they see it a certain way, therefore that's how certain people are supposed to look or do makeup like. I mean, look at my hair and lips. It was
It
it wasn't
looks
always
great.
that. Thank you. It wasn't always that way.
Yeah,
I
well, you
didn't
could just,
start wearing makeup till 15. It
yeah,
wasn't always that way. For me, this is a way of me expressing my soul. I'm getting compliments from anywhere, everywhere I go, people love it. And
yeah.
that's the impact of makeup and beauty. But talk to us a bit more when people shame women for wearing specific makeup or makeup all the time.
Well, I think people shame things, when it's really foreign to them. It's kind of like, the kid that moves from another country, to any country. Let's say, it's you're Haitian and let's say you go to London to school and you have a different way of talking, a different type of food, a different culture, a different whole DNA kind of footprint. And the kids on the ground will bully you because it's different. And I think human beings have a terrible um, imprint in us genetically that when anything is different, we're like, what is that? And so, and I mean, we see it in the animal kingdom. If anyone has pets, especially if you have multiple pets and you remember having the first pet and when you brought that second pet home, you know exactly what I'm saying. It's like it's either one animal is like gonna snuggle the hell out of that animal and really welcome it in, or you have others who become vicious and territorial and they need to keep them separated and get them warmed up to each other because human beings are very much the same. We forget we are a part of the animal kingdom. We are a mammal at the end of the day. And so we have territory. We don't like to think of ourselves as a mammal. We don't like to think of ourselves as in the animal kingdom, but we are a species of an animal, it's just a human animal, so to speak. And so that that territorialness exists in us. And that's, I think, something I get and I grasp because I majored in anthropology. It always helps me to I look at people like the way you would as if you were, a scientist looking at a group of humans. You look at how clicks form. I look at how fast people click up with each other. What makes them click up so fast, or what makes them click up so fast? I look at people's faces and their features. When people talk to me, sometimes I can pull out exactly where they come from. Sometimes I'm right, most of the times. Sometimes I'm not,
Mm.
but I am into all of those very little nuances. Those are the things that make us who we are. And I lean into difference when I see people. Like if I saw you, I would totally be like, your hair looks amazing. I love your lipstick. Oh, your makeup looks great. I would be that girl totally complimenting you. But there's going to be that other person on the other side. What is that? What is she doing? And I believe that a lot of that kind of feeling, it's not so much that you're off-putting, it's they're insecure about themselves, and the freedom of expression that you're doing is offensive to them.
Mm.
It's really that. I know because I've lived my whole life being the girl with dreads when no one had dreads. I had dreads before. I was just me and Lil Wayne. We had locks. Like I literally remember being at the BET Awards and being like, "Oh, okay, there goes the person with dreads. Oh, that's Lil Wayne." Like it was just me and him at that point in my career. And there was one stylist named Groovy Lou who wore a turban of locks. There were no people with locks really, like in terms of music behind the scenes like me
Mhm.
and that looked like me. And so I always looked different. I had these orange, blonde, cranberry, hot pink dreads, and I had nose piercings and tats and stuff. So I was always kind of looking a little alternative. That's why I worked at Mac, because I fit the prototype of a Mac girl being alternative and different. I wore a lot of black anyway because I loved Janet Jackson growing up. I swore I was her and still think I am. Probably I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be Janet till the end. No, but like all of those things that made me who I was. In my neighborhood, it was very different. And so I had all of that energy all the time. People didn't like me. People couldn't figure me out. Why is she so quiet? Why is she to herself? Where's she always going? Just coming and going was irritating people. And it's because really the irritation is they just want to know you. They want to know you. They want to understand you. Some of them want to get latch into you like vampires and become a part of you. Other people just want that basic like acknowledgement, like you see me over here. So I realized it's just a human flex that people put on each other in terms of looking at people and seeing their differences and being pissed about it.
Mm.
So it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
guys, you love how she looks. You love that the Bernadette's beautiful hair color and her that she's adventurous to wear her lip colors. But let's not get funny looks. Just say this looks amazing. And maybe you're not brave enough to do it.
Mm.
But maybe, just maybe, Bernadette and Ashunta can inspire you to come outside of your show to
Mm.
try just another color lip. Maybe you don't have to have three different color hairs.
Yeah.
Hair. Maybe you don't have to wear dark purple lipstick, which is beautiful on your skin tone. Maybe somebody else may feel, oh, that may not work for me. Okay, well, why don't you use this dark purple as a lip liner and put some like pinkish color in the middle, and you'll get like almost like a nice softer ombre. Like I try to help people to come out their box because I always say with makeup, and I know I'm boring today, and that's because I'm like I'm in like like a onesie, and I'm like running around the house in founders and meetings, and I was literally like thinking to myself like I don't have to change because this is me too. You get what I mean? Like some founders feel like they need to put on the buttoned up outfit and
Mm.
I'm going to come talk and do my founder spiel.
Yeah.
I'm a founder regardless of what the hell I have on, regardless of what color my hair is, regardless of how I did my makeup that day, and the same goes for you. So, kudos for you for being you and inspiring women to be themselves because I feel like when women do what you do or when they do what I do,
Yeah.
they're inspiring each other. Because so many women feel like even 40 plus, I hear women go, "Oh, I can't wear that. Oh, I can't put that on. Oh, that color is going to be," you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
It's really just up to you and how you feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. I do love your hair. I do.
Thank you. Thank you. And I love yours too.
Thank,
Should I have dreads this color? This is gorgeous. Because
thank
it's like
you.
my brand colors. I'm like, I may have to put some pink in mine.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, because for me growing up, especially in Haiti, it's very strict. We wear uniforms. This is not something I would have gotten away of doing. Even the
Hmm.
bright purple, the hair, people would have stared and looked if I had done it even as a child. So this is me playing, and I'm working with my inner child to say, hey, you're never too old, you can
No,
do
you're not.
this.
You're
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's important we play with our inner child and inner self in that way. And, you know, I always, say, what did you really love as a child? And sometimes you have the very rare people who are like, I don't even know, because some people parent in a way that's so regimented, a child can't really be a child. So they didn't really get to really know. Like I have friends who for example, who play professional instruments.
Mm,
And when they showed promise from 5 years old, so that's all they know is like all the practicing and very little childhood. And so I have clients who have become like professional ballet or artists, dancers, and
mhm,
I think of my one of my really longtime clients who's a pianist,
mm,
and so much time putting into practice, no childhood, no going outside, no playing, no getting to really explore. And everything was kind of molded in her life around music, piano, and create. And it's great because she's brilliant,
yeah,
but we have this struggle when it's time to do makeup, because for her it's like she has a uniform look that she wants to settle into, but it goes against who she is at the core of her being, because at the core of her being she's a very sexy, vibrant, almost seductress the way she plays, and that's just who she is as a person.
yeah.
And so I'm like, the way you're doing your makeup and your hair is not matching the energy you're giving. You're giving all this beautiful sexual essence,
Mm,
energy that's raw and natural, and you're looking like Mrs. Doubtfire. And it's like, just I'm gonna keep it really simple with neutral tones.
yeah,
And I was like, we need to have fun. And so we started doing that with her in her career, and I can see
mm,
like her just blossoming and growing.
yeah. That's amazing. That's really cool. Um, how can people find different skin tone foundation? Does that make sense? Foundation. Because it,
Yeah.
it took me a very, very long time to look like this. Not the
To
hair,
find your
but my color.
to match your color.
Mm,
Well, people, if they're looking for foundation matches, they should always find a professional um
mm,
place that sells makeup, because sometimes you can't do it on your own. There could be, someone who see when someone's looking at you, I think they just have a better view of your face than you looking at yourself. But if you feel you're really good with makeup, which it would mean you're not a beginner, you're not a novice, you're more like you practice and do makeup all the time, and you just feel like your shading is a little off, you can actually go into a Sephora or into a Mac store or somewhere like that where they have really good. I like to go places where there's a range of formulation, because if you're not really a makeup wearer and you're saying, hey, I want to have a good foundation, a good concealer, I need a good base to my face, go someplace where there's a lot of options so that you can try different formulas, because a cream stick may be great for you, but a liquid may be great for someone else.
mhm,
Someone else may want a cushion formulation.
mhm,
Someone may want a skin-like formulation. Someone may want a real full coverage, but still liquid. So there's all these different variables in a foundation that you can select from. So I would say narrow down what you're looking for before you go into the store. Say, assess your skin. What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve absolute flawlessness? Well, that's a full coverage. That means you want full coverage foundation. Are you trying to have it where it's semi skin, semi blurred, semi coverage? That's a medium coverage. And then if you want, oh, I want it to be skin like finish, that is a light coverage. So at least know those tiers of where you're trying to be. You also may be the kind of person that needs to wardrobe your foundations, because sometimes, like me, I have foundations I use for like when I'm running errands, or just, maybe I'm traveling and it's the middle of the day, and if it's early in the morning, I won't put on makeup. But if it's like this time of day and I'm traveling, by this time I have makeup on. But
mhm,
I'm not going to put the heaviest coverage. I'm going to put on something skin light, that's breathable, that's a serum probably formulated. So you have to like wardrobe your foundations to match your lifestyle. I
Yeah.
have a full coverage foundation that I pull out when I'm doing red carpet and I'm doing TV
Yeah.
because that's the kind of coverage I need under lights. So you have to think about all these things. The people, they kind of simplify their makeup too simple
Mm,
because, I'm like, you would never simplify your hair routine like this. There's sometimes when you want to really work on those edges and have edge control. So you're going to have an edge control product. There's another time when you don't want to deal with your edges at all, but you want your hair to be fluffy and full. So you may get some foam involved or mousse,
mm,
to get thickness and fullness to your hair and do like a twist out style or whatever. There may be times when you want it sleek and you need to put some heat. So now we need like a protectant to get that, a thermal protectant and an anti-frizzer, right? So this is all the same hair, but
mm.
in order to get different hairstyles, I have different hair products. And the face is the same. So
Yeah.
if I want skin like light, if I want like somewhere in between medium, if I want full, I'm gonna go for a full coverage foundation. And then I need to go, do I want a liquid? Do I want a cream stick? Do I want a cushion style?
Mhm.
Then you start trying to figure out the actual finished product. You know the coverage you want, but how do you want it delivered? What system? And I think it's worth thinking about for people to always invest in more than one foundation. Even if you have acne and problematic skin, right, and you're dealing with challenges, you can still have a skin-like finish with a light coverage. You still can. It's just people feel like they're going to see through everything. Well, this is where concealer comes into play. And you would just do like tiny spot concealing, and you can still, I've done it before where people still look like they have skin, and I've spot concealed just wherever the blemish is and then layer the foundation on top, and they look absolutely like completely flawless. So you don't have to have a thick formulation just because of problematic skin. You too have to still think about, even with the challenges in your skin, what's the finished result? What are you trying to achieve? And then of course a powder. Everybody needs a good powder. We make an amazing one in Ashunta Sheriff Beauty. It's called Blur Effects, and it's a universal powder. Can be used for setting, can be used for blotting, can be used for also just for mattifying during the day. It works great on guys, even if they feel like they, need to be on TV and they need a little anti-shine. Or if they're just metrosexual and just like to keep themselves nice and matte. I have both men and female clients that love this powder because it's really very compact, very small. But the formulation is really beautiful and it's one color.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. So the holidays are coming up. I know most people's typical makeup is green and red, or a lot of red and black and green. What
hmm
would you say to people who's been staying in their comfort zone? How can they step out?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I never wear those colors during the holiday.
I can't.
I put on a red lip gloss now and I rarely even put on red lip glosses. But I would say, if you're a person, you're a red person, do it. Like I know people every year they're in their red lipstick, but there's something you could do is maybe by adding some red glitter on top of it. Maybe for a Christmas holiday party, just a little bit of pat of red glitter. You can do that with an eyeshadow that has glitter in it, or either like a glitter, a standalone glitter by itself. And that's just something to jazz up a red so you're not in that same boring red matte. You can really do that, and that would look really pretty with whatever outfit. I also think that people don't wear like enough of the richer tone side of red. So like burgundies are beautiful during the holiday. There's nothing sexier than like a beautiful black fur faux coat, and then you've got your hat on, and you've got like a nice maroon, really beautiful, strong lip going on. It just feels really sexy and very grown. And I think people don't lean into that enough. And that look to me goes beautiful with like bare skin, like, very minimal makeup, maybe a lash, no liner, just real clean and glowy and pretty. I love that. I've always loved that look. And that's what I usually lean into, is more of a bold, strong wine lip. But also too, another great color to, people tend to go green with the eyeshadow, right? And bring in eye green colors. Well, we can also bring in beautiful like magenta tones, and even cranberries are pretty colors, especially on women of color. These colors look really beautiful, deep purples, aubergines. These are another way you can get a really good, beautiful monochromatic kind of smoky eye going with that like dark lip. And it's like, giving like really fierce. So I think, leaning into those kind of earthy colors are pretty.
Yeah.
Also, like chocolate, like the color of milk chocolate and dark chocolate are beautiful colors to, segue from a dark red,
Mhm.
but like a dark, beautiful mocha. It looks really pretty on, again, like very simple, clean skin, lash. And it's just always, it always pops. Every time I tell people to do, they're like, yeah, that was it. And I'm, people don't realize like those matte colors like that just looks so beautiful, especially in black and brown women. They just really do. They like make us pop.
Yeah.
Um, if you're fairer skin toned, I know a lot of people tend to go red, but a pretty orange is nice even, like a really bold matte orange. Think of your lips as a prize, as a present. And a matte orange really could be nice if you paired that with like a nice cat wing liner and gave it like a little bit of a retro vibe. So yeah, those are some of my color suggestions outside of like the typical red and green.
Yeah, yeah, because I know there's always different parties people have to go to. Um, yeah, sometimes people underdress, sometimes they overdress.
Hmm.
It's hard to find a
The
right.
happy medium. Well,
Yeah.
I think because some people really like go full on like black tie,
Mm,
when they think holiday. And listen, if that's how your spirit feels, like do it. Because
mhm.
listen, the time period we are living in right now, we need to just whatever we want to do individually to feel good, do it
Yeah, yeah,
because life is not promised to us. It really isn't. So enjoy life, So if you have a gown in that closet and you like, I keep waiting to wear it and there's a party, and that's a part of expression too, right? Like with the hair and the makeup, like some people are like that with clothing.
yeah,
Like some people do it more with their hair and makeup. And I know people who are all about the fashion in that way. They're
mm,
going to go over the top
yeah,
every time, and I love that for them because that's not my way necessarily. I do it more in my makeup and my hair and
mhm,
my nails. That's more of my expression, and probably like other maybe accessories. I may be kind of weird and quirky with accessories, but I think overall, like I love when I see people really go off with fashion.
yeah,
Excuse me, sorry.
yeah. Me too. Me too. I love fashion. I want to have my own line one day. It will be,
Amazing.
yeah, it will be the color of my hair actually.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
kind of mermaid, aqua, like
Mm-hmm.
background behind me style. That's my color. Yeah.
That's we have a lot of things in our brand with your vibe. So we
Mhm.
have a unicorn glitter palette. We have mermaid fantasy palette. So
Yeah.
I'm right up your alley as I'm definitely a nymph fairy from, Middle Earth. That's
Yeah.
what I feel like.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
I feel like a mermaid.
Yeah. I love that.
Underwater. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Did we talk about everything? There's so many questions I've
No, I feel
Let's
like
do
you
a-
covered everything. Is there
yeah.
anything, do you want me to say anything about what's coming up for me, maybe?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please share.
Okay, I might as well.
Mhm.
So I have a few little things coming up. I have shopping experience with Navy Pier here in Chicago, and that's going to start November 30th and grow all the way through January 4th. And it's with Winter Wonderfest, and so I'm really excited to be a part of that. It's basically a beautiful family-oriented event that's happening in downtown Chicago at the historical Navy Pier, and so people can come and also shop 12 select vendors that are going to be there every weekend. So come shop us if you're in Chicago. It'll be fun. And
Yeah.
then I also have an exhibition coming up in Miami at Art Basel. It's called Hip Hop Beauty. And Hip Hop Beauty is our love letter to hip hop music, which is the vehicle that really changed the dynamic of both my life and my co-founder's life. Thembisa Mshaka, who's an award-winning journalist, as well as author and just overall amazing human being. She's also a producer, award-winning producer. So together we make Hip Hop Beauty, and it will be launching at the National Hotel in Miami on December 5th. So we're really excited about that. It's going to be a basically a small curated photographic exhibition, and it's really highlighting, beautiful Black and brown women in hip hop.
Mm, that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
really, yeah, I
yeah, I'm
love that.
excited about that. I'm excited about that. So that's what I really have coming up next. And then, just getting ready for the holiday with my family.
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool. That's really cool. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, I'd love to have you back to maybe share more about the holiday and kind of New Year makeup style because you know
Hmm.
what? Some people party until they're hungover until the end of January. So
Hmm. I agree.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
okay. All righty. Well, I will get it scheduled then.
Yeah. Well, I have two questions for you as a wrap up. The first one is, what is the meaning of life for you?
Oh, that's a good one. What is the meaning of life for me is the freedom to have a new day every day to explore, learn, grow,
Mm,
see new things, love on your family, and find out more about who you are as a person.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
You're
Where
welcome.
can people find you and buy your
Okay.
products?
Okay, so people can find our brand at www.ashuntabeauty.com. And you can also follow me at Ashunta Sharif or at Ashunta Sharif Kendricks. And that's on Instagram. Ashunta Sharif is on Instagram, and Ashunta Sharif Kendricks is on TikTok. And then they can follow the brand at Ashunta Sharif Beauty. And that's across both TikTok and Instagram and YouTube.
Awesome. Well, Ashunta, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Thank you for the work that you're doing. This was a breath of fresh air because I think I've been yearning to have a conversation like this to explore more of the depth of beauty and makeup. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, Bernadette.
Yeah.
And I'll hit you about coming back on.
Yes, definitely.